Hello, welcome out. Here we are with another list in our list of lists regarding college. This one is titled Overcoming Not Wanting to See the Professor. There are many good reasons to see the professor, understand a grade on a test or paper, ask an important question about the reading, lecture, clear up a misunderstanding regarding a paper or test, and so on. The professor is there to help, so go, it's worth the time. We are, generally speaking, I've worked at 10 different colleges and universities as an adjunct, and there is almost always an hour a week allotted time by contract that the professor is there to speak with the students, nothing else, just to speak with the students. Outside of that, professors are generally very busy, attending meetings, grading papers, and doing all kinds of other things, administrative stuff and whatnot. So if you have the opportunity and you need something cleared up, by all means, please go. You're probably not going to be there for the whole hour. I can't think actually one student who was there for the whole hour. Usually it's 10, 15 minutes, at the most. Rarely will it go 20 minutes or more, right? If need be, the professor might have to get back in touch with the student to check in again on an ongoing situation, whatever. But generally speaking, 5 minutes, 10 minutes is all it takes, so it's not going to take a lot of your time. But many students are worried about various things. What are those worries? Number one, I'll give away that I don't know what I'm doing. Guess what? You're in class because you're learning, meaning you don't know everything, right? Don't worry about that. In the majority of cases, professors are not thinking about your deficiencies, but rather what the problem is and how they can help. Also, there are probably a few questions that you could ask that the professor hasn't heard before in one shape or form. So few students take the opportunity to speak to their professors one-on-one, but in doing so, it may be just that moment that gets you over the top on some issue that motivates and inspires beyond the class. You'll never know until you try. And there's something about this inquiring. One of the things that I've always said about writing, and I've been writing for most of my life, probably since I was 14, 15 years old, voluntarily. Crazy, huh? But anyways, and as I'm writing, inevitably, insights, understanding, feedback, and so forth, came to me and continues to come to me, that I never knew was there. I had forgotten, clarifying something, bringing, resolution to something, a eureka moment, So that's why I suggest students keep a journal even, or keep track of things, right? Write things down, maybe inquiries into a course or inquiries into the college experience, to help yourself and maybe eventually later at some point, such as I'm doing, to help others, right? Number two, I've heard that this professor is pretty mean. Yes, there are some mean professors, even some crazy ones. When I was working on my bachelor's, there was a Shakespeare professor. I was taking a class by a professor who taught a lot of Shakespeare. And at one point, in order to demonstrate a point he was making, he grabbed the student's hands, put his foot, one of his feet, put his foot on the student's chest and pulled. I don't know if this was a point about tension in the story or something. But anyways, and I've also had some professors square up a storm. The F word was one of my music professor's favorite words, or just go off on tirades and rants. So, but that's the exception. Most professors are pretty sane and they want to help. Also, most professors are reviewed by students every 2 semesters or so. So they rely on the students to have a good opinion about their teaching and overall demeanor. That must be kept in mind. Number 3, I'm sure my professor has plenty to keep him busy. Yes, I can tell you from personal experience that professors are very busy, but keep in mind, office hours, as I've said before, are part of their contract and required. So they get paid to help you. that's besides the point. Most professors are in education to help students learn and grow. So one-on-one sessions are simply a part of that process. And you really need to take advantage of that situation. Number 4, try not completely ignoring the professor. I like this one. You'd be surprised how the majority of students do just that. When you come in, say hi, and you could even engage the professor in conversation. They enjoy it, and they usually are very insightful and fun to engage. I've had classes where anywhere from a few to a handful to nearly half the class engages on a regular basis. And I'm not talking even before the class begins. So this is interaction that goes on sometimes, way before. I've been class early, maybe 15, 20 minutes, and conversations have lasted that long until the class starts. 9 out of 10 times it brings a lot of light and energy to the classroom. So don't be afraid to light up that classroom. Number 5, sorry, but I'm just too shy to go one-on-one. Yes, I understand shyness during a presentation at the end of the semester. One semester, I had a student who just couldn't get up in front of people. So she recorded her presentation and showed it to me before class. But at least she made an effort. That's all you have to do. Just show up. Most professors are very good at setting the tone, inviting you into focus on the problem at hand, not any cursory issues. It's worth it, right? So again, don't worry too much about the bad stuff or what could happen or what could go wrong or what the professor's thinking. Now they understand that I'm behind the 8 ball. They understand that I'm not smart or into the course or whatever it is, and they're going to take advantage of that. Most professors are sane, rational, and very helpful human beings. So you get to the meeting. Next question would be, now that I'm here, what do I say? Take some time to think. This is before you go in, right? Take some time to think about your questions and be as specific as possible, saying that I just don't get it, won't help. Something like, I understand that the main focus on our papers is to blah, 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 whatever it is. But I'm wondering if I'm off base too much by saying this or that. So you want to be as specific as possible, okay? Again, don't sweat it. Take a little time to run the question around in your mind and rough draft a few questions, but don't worry or overthink it. We're looking for a good start, not a solution at the outset. Again, your professor has a lot of experience and will fill in the rough spots. Okay, good luck. Number 7, again, this is the student. To be honest, this isn't my major, so why bother? And I thought about that statement. It's a very limiting thought. And unfortunately, I understand students don't come from a very experienced perspective. Some students are just going out to college to get the degree, to get the job. They don't really understand higher education or college or learning in the deeper sense, in the bigger picture perspective, right? It's very myopic and narrow-minded. I'm just go to class, get as high a grade as possible, graduate with good grades, get a good job, right? But there's a lot more to it than that. As I've said many times before, it's about the overall effort and practice and keeping your head in the game all the time, as well as realizing what you do in one area of your academic life seeps into other areas, right? So just turning on and off an attitude is not good. It's not conducive. It's not consistent. It's not consistent to an overall whole, right? You want to be a whole person. You don't want to be fake or false. You don't want to decompartmentalize. You want to just build a certain persona, a certain character, right? Be consistent in your character across the board, no matter the application, like critical thinking. Use it for, science and math classes, or use it for, shopping at the mall or shopping for groceries, or at the community rec hall when you're doing some volunteer work or whatever, right? Even though the course may, getting back to the point here, number 7, even though the course may not be part of your major, the skills and attitudes you're using for courses within your major should translate here as well. Consistency is the key, as well as practicing skills and attitudes, not just for your major, but all classes, for in the workspace and life in general. For example, that would be me, your fellow professor, your professor at hand, I should say. I use critical thinking, rational, logical thought in the classroom, on papers, while watching YouTube, at the grocery store. So you get the point. You want to create a whole systemic personality or persona, right? That type of thing. I'm lost. So what's the point? First of all, if you reach this point, you've waited too long. That being said, you may not be lost as you feel. You really need to talk to your professor to assess the situation. In most cases, your professor can help you get off the snide, meaning get back on top of things, which might not be as bad as you think. Unless it's the last 6 weeks or so of the semester, you've got a chance to turn things around. If you're willing to seek help, most professors will do what's needed to get you back on track. So go talk. Don't wait until the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. If you see something occurring and it's in the negative and it's a bad thing, and you keep experiencing negativity week after week, within the first month and maybe 6 weeks up to 2 months, in most situations, you can turn it around. It's got to take a good bit of work to turn things around, if you get like 2 months in. But anyways, number 9, I can't go. I'm just too afraid to hear the bad news. That's standard situation, right? Standard mentality, standard worry. Again, don't let your mind convince you that all is lost. We have a tendency to sign our own death warrant, even though we've got a lot of health left. But even if there's bad news, maybe there's a way out. Or if worse comes to worse, you drop and take the class next semester. Better than waiting too long and getting an F, right? So, do something, do it quickly as possible. Do it quickly, do it often, as they say, right? Don't let things linger, for whatever reason. I know, a lot easier said than done. I myself let some things linger, and I shouldn't. But I've learned in the vast majority of situations, to not allow that to occur. Don't let that become a habit. That's another bad habit, right? You carry that into the workplace, or you carry that into your relationships or wherever. It's not a positive, all right? So work on habits, characteristics or character assets that are in the positive. 10, I really don't want to get all kinds of additional work. That's, again, very myopic thinking, small, narrow-minded thinking, right? You need to step back and look at the bigger picture. It's all about you learning, gaining knowledge, skills, and attitudes for the remainder of your working days, even your life. Anything that you can learn, even if it's overcoming poor or lazy, defeatist thinking, primer. You got to do it. It's about doing the right thing for you at the right time, in the right moment, so that you can move forward with greater precision, power, and purpose. And that's good for today. Until next time, we'll talk soon.